Okay, I know that Dorei-ku the animation hasn't been the most hype show right now. I mean, I get it. With all the good shows that come out, that came out in the spring, like Love is Hard for an Otaku or Comic Girls, Sword Art Online, a Gun Girl thing. All those great shows that came out in the spring. They've been like tiers, like most talk shows. And Dorei-ku the animation, not much talked, but let's be honest. After watching this episode, I gotta say the series is right back on track. Now, I gotta say, episode 6 I felt sad for the dog. Like the dog got a backstory. Nothing. It was the saddest backstory he ever had. Like this is the saddest. Like it's like I don't know how, but the dog's Zushiohmaru, he had a good life, and it's sad to say just how like, oh no, that kind of thing. It's that phase, that gets to me. Like the dog got a story, and he talks. Like in the world where if he was actually talking to Area and Yuuga and the others, we would have had a great story. But this is the mind of a dog, and we understand what he's going through. So sorry, he's not gonna talk, but we knows what he's saying because we get it. So this episode was about Zushiohmaru's backstory as to why he got the mouthpiece in the beginning, as to why he met up with all the other characters in the game. So how it goes? Well, he was just a regular dog, Zushiohmaru was a regular dog and Ariel took care of him. He took care of him, and then all of a sudden he met a beautiful dog, a beautiful white fluffy dog in a flower van, and he called her a bitch because bitch are dogs. I can't. You get the idea why he said bitch, but he went to go chase after that dog. And then soon later, as soon as he was about to chase that female dog, he hurt himself in the process of trying to find that true love puppy. And then he was rescued by this old man and this dick of a scientist who just want to steal his projects. Steal some guy's projects. So he did. They tested Zushiohmaru out, and the long story, and I'll make this clear. The guy who worked for the old man, he grabbed the data, drugged Zushiohmaru, and then took the device, the product of all SCMs, like the beginning of how SCM was the mouthpiece started. So yeah, he took the product, and then it's bad because Zushiohmaru has backstory is so freaking sad that he all he wants was revenge on the person who took care of him when Area was away. That's sad. So anyway, the old man abandoning his work, and him and Zushiohmaru was living together. And then he took the mouthpiece, he took the SCM from the old man, and in order to get revenge on him. And he's been looking around trying to find the guy who betrayed the whole university. So as soon as he went back, the old man was hanging. He committed suicide. He hung himself. And I was like, oh, that's sad. And the way he was like, the way the dog was, come on, that was sad. So this explains how Zushiohmaru had the mouthpiece all along. It kind of explains why he was in this SCM in the first place. But truth be told, out of everybody's backstory, I gotta say, the dog's backstory is way better than everybody's. I mean, I know some had some bad times and worse times like that, but his is accurate. Like, I understand why he's part of the game. It all makes sense. I mean, Zero backstory, yeah, but the dog's backstory, perfectly clear. Like, why he was in this game. Now, we're going to move on to Zushiohmaru's backstory and go on to Yuuga's. Now, Yuuga was kind of an asshole. In the beginning, in the first episode, he was a nice guy, nice to Area, but he was a total dick in last week's episode, making the dog eat the entire just utensils in a plate, making the girl with the eye patch eat the entire thing, and wants to control Zushiohmaru, and I'm like, damn, that's fucked up. And his old back, and let's be honest, he had it. This is what we call karma's a bitch, and he got it. Do we feel bad for him? Maybe, but he deserves it. Now, how it goes? Okay, he's in the train, and all of a sudden, he gets a syringe up the ass by these two bodyguards, which you already know from previous episodes, like the one that raped the girl in the first episode, and the big guy that beat up the trap and the lady. So you already know who they are. So Fujiko, she's into the BDSM thing. She's into that thing, that fetishes y'all like. You know, if you guys like getting tied up or something, that's your woman right there. So Fujiko, if anybody likes her, just watch this, because you might have a thing for tying up. So they played a game, and the game was the funniest game ever. All you have to do, whoever looks at their mother first loses. And that's kind of fucked up. I mean, it's not every day you get to see your parents every day, but that's how funny it was. So, but the way how the game was really progressive, as soon as they drugged him, they tied him up in that bondage chair, and all Fujiko wants was revenge on that Leo guy, that big old Leo hair. You know him. He was in most parts of this, like paying the trap, you know, paying money towards it, pretending to be the guy's boyfriend just to break up with her. You know him. He's a side character, so we don't really know about that. But Fujiko wants revenge on Yuga's best friend for sleeping with him, and then gave her the device. So kind of like ditch her, you fucked her, then leave her. That's how they did it. Even though he said sorry, but I don't care. That's how he did it. So Fujiko wants to get revenge. And so the way how he did Yuga, that was kind of funny. He tied him up in the bondage way, tied him so hard, had the mask with the nose, had the mask down in his crotch, had it said mama. So when the mom opened the door slowly, she screamed. He lost. But he deserves it. I mean, after what he did to Zushiohmaru, Yuga had it coming. And that's revenge best surf code. That is the best way to get revenge on a person who actually ruined Erina and Zushiohmaru's life. So now he's Fujiko's slave. But now we get into the plot. Now we get into everything getting more serious, where Arya wants to get revenge. So at an abandoned warehouse, play rock, paper, scissors. He plays paper. Arya plays scissors. So here's the funny thing about it. Arya wants revenge so bad that he not only made Fujiko suffer, but actually become Arya's slave. And Arya, from the first episode, didn't want to be part of this SCM. But now that Zushiohmaru is part of it, she wants to be, how do I say this? End the entire SCM. But then, don't you think that's kind of a bad thing? I mean, just hear me out. If you release the SCMs, if you release all the SCMs all around the world, don't you know how crime rates will be? Like the crime rates for every it will be total chaotic. It will be total chaos around the entire world if all the SCMs were gone. So it's like if any bad guy was to control anybody out of the States, it's just that's gonna be mad. That's gonna be depressing, and the whole world will be so full of hell if that would have happened. But Arya wants to, in the way Arya is saying, it's just like, okay, I want peace. That's it. All I want is for everybody to have a normal life, rather you good or bad. That's how Arya is. That's her goal. So Arya's main goal is not only eliminate the SCM, but to make sure it doesn't happen at all. That's why she's trying to gather up more slaves for the good of the peace. So basically, it's like this. You have one group who wants power, one group who wants peace, and then you want this one group with revenge. Arya is that kind of group where it's just like, for the greater good, for the good of the entire world. Let's end the SCM for life. That's how it is. So I gotta say, after 6 episodes, episode 6 is trying to boost back up. It's trying to bounce back. And trying to continue the series right now. So let's just say the 5 episodes was just like, oh, all right. But episode 6 kind of like, oh, that makes sense. Now I see it coming. Now it's on point. It's finally getting somewhere. We can actually understand every little bit of detail in this whole line of the Dorei-ku series. Let's just make this work. Let's just see other characters being part of the game. Like in the ending, they showed the cat. Like, I want to see how the cat got in. Continue the series like that. Now, in the ending, they did show who's the master, who are the slaves, and who is not. So basically, it is a race to see who can gather up more slaves, more masters, and more people who's not in it. Let's just hope that Arya has enough to control as much people as she can before the little Master Rio boy get them all. So that's all. So what did we learn from this episode? Well, we learned episode 6. In episode 6, we learned that Zushiohmaru is back. The dog's backstory is so freaking sad. It makes sense as to why he wants revenge and to be with the master and be with Arya. And Yuuga, he deserved it, and that's final. So tune in next week.